We say hello to our next speaker, Ettore Chimenti. He's an embedded Linux developer and works as software engineer at the company SFScon. Today he will present how an open source project can revolutionize the IoT market and industry. Please, Ettore, for your contribution.
Thank you, everyone, and welcome to the SFScon, and thank you for attending. And today I will show you the Oniro project, and I will explain how an open source project can revolutionize the IoT market. So, and let's start. I'm Ettore Chimenti. I'm a software engineer at SFScon and an embedded Linux, and I'm responsible for the hardware enablement in the Oniro project. So SFScon is a device maker company and is involved in many open source projects, including Oniro. So I will talk a little bit about the fragmentation in the IoT world. So in the recent years, we are witnessing a large increase of the IoT devices in the market, and is increasing at a really fast pace, much more than the consumer market. So this leads to a series of problems that it's affecting the IoT market. So one of these is that there are too many devices to maintain actively. So for companies, it's hard to make them secure, since they are always connected to the internet. Another thing is the technology is evolving so fast that companies are not connecting together, and this leads to technology silos. So it's the devices cannot interact with different vendors, for example. We need there is a need of an orchestration that is capable of guaranteeing vendor neutrality and openness, because as I said, companies doesn't have a standard for communicating. Of course, there is a lack of an open source end-to-end solution, so there is no standardized way for development in the IoT. And last but not least, the communication between devices is always, or at least for many technology, is achieved with connecting to the clouds. So for all of these reasons, we developed a solution that is called Oniro, hosted by the Eclipse Foundation and it's a distributed operating system, a platform for creating apps and application for the IoT world. And it's made for a wide for many type of devices, big and small. So how to fix the fragmentation problem with Oniro? We try to develop a common code base that is specific to IoT project. So it has all the features that are required for making an IoT application. We try to standardize the workflow for developers to make their own applications. We try to bring back the communication at the edge between devices, so not using the cloud if it's not required. We need an open collaboration between players, so that's why it is hosted by an open governance as the Eclipse Foundation. And we don't want to reinvent the wheel every time. We don't want to revolutionize what we have been doing before, so we are just connecting the pieces between existing open source technologies. So one of the key features of Oniro is being based on the Yocto BitBake building system that can exploit the flexibility of the system to make images that goes to the devices on top of Linux and Zephyr. So we can use the same building system for targeting microcontrollers or single board computer, for example. In the terms of filling the gaps, we are using, for example, for the over-the-air updates, we are using Hawkbit as the update server, Rauk as the update runtime, and all of these pieces are orchestrated by a wrapper that is mainly the active part of updating the images and the devices, and this can be configured to use also other types of updates. So this gives to the user, to the companies that are willing to use Oniro to use also different approaches to this system. And we also tried not just to do the code, but to build something that is production ready or production grade for the developers to adopt Oniro and start using it. So we build already an infrastructure based on GitLab runners. So at every commit that we are doing in the code base, it will be tested against the devices that are under test, and we are testing the IP compliance and other certification to be production ready. As I said, for example, IPM-FOSS is really important to be open and accessible by any company. So we are doing a FOSS scan to be compliant for the license to be open. And what you're getting from Oniro. So we are building a core that everyone can exploit. So we are reusing open source software core like Open Embedded. We are using tool chains, core libraries, application frameworks, and the Yocto core. And on top, we are building CI/CD, testing, documentation, maintenance, AP compliance, OTA, and security. And some of the, for example, some default configurations, hardening of the kernel, and the management. On top, you can customize the building system to add some of your configuration and, of course, your application. So your effort is reduced by more than 80% to build it by your own. As a device maker, we are getting some of the industrial reference hardware, so you can use it for your industrial application. So we introduced an Intel and an AMX8 and cost-effective rock chip to wide the type of application that you can do with IoT in the IoT market, as well as some standard prototypization devices such as Raspberry Pi or virtual targets like QEMO. This permits us to show to companies also the real life applications like blueprints. So it's like a service design for an application. So you can look how we did this vending machine. It's like a demo, but you can also try to see how we implemented it, like how it can be implemented in Oniro. And so this is why we have some of the real hardware for reference. So what is the added value of being part of the ecosystem? One is that you get a co-investment with the other partners of the working group. You get to be in a global ecosystem, so we can share knowledge and know-how on different areas of development. We have a shared go-to-market strategy, because on top of this, Oniro also creates a way for creating new application, and as, for example, a system integrator is really useful to adopt it for your clients, for example. There is a unified set of configuration, APIs and protocols that you can exploit, and you have everything bundled inside the Oniro ecosystem. And you get to development and deploy your application inside the working group, for example. So the project has started 1 year ago. So its first birthday happened last month, and there is the next release is going to be out soon in the next weeks. So you can already go and find documentation and try it out on your computer, for example, to start develop with Oniro. And we have a channel in IRC, Libera Chat, so you can interact with the developers. And of course, there is the website, and we have also a booth in the hall if you want to know more and see one of the blueprints. There is CATS, is one of our blueprints that we have been developed. And yeah, thank you, and I hope you join the community.